All right, we're talking from 6-7. We're still talking about linear functions, linear equations, and we're looking at our third form, which is point-slope form. And then go ahead and write all this down. And as some of you probably noticed, I don't even know what you're writing down. That's okay. I'm just going to say it a couple times, and then I expect you all to be able to just say it. Okay? So if you've already written it, look up here. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. All right, everyone together. Y
minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1.
Okay, so at least you know how to say it. That's one step. But then what do all those parts mean? And that's what the explanation here is where. Then they give me this right here. This is x sub 1 comma y sub 1. Do you know what this is? And that's a hint. There's a hint right here. This is representing a point. This is a point on a particular type of line. Does anyone know what it means to be non-vertical? Okay, what's a vertical line? Can you guys show me what a vertical line is? Everyone? Vertical line. Don't tell me it's straight, because all lines are straight. But a vertical line goes up and down, as most of you are showing me. And when we're straight up and down would be fine. But here, when we're talking about point slope form, we're not talking about this line. This is the only line I'm not talking about. That's what I mean by non-vertical line. And then, what does M always stand for? For us now, for a long time. What does it stand for? The slope. Okay. Who can read this for me real quick? Just read it for me on your own, no help. Y shall choose. Chosen. Andrew, read this for me, just right here.
Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus sub 1. Or minus x sub 1.
Good. X minus x sub 1. There you go. And then what does x1, y1 represent? It represents a point. And what does m stand for? The slope. Okay, you know why we call it point slope form? Because in this form, you have, ready? It's deep, so listen carefully. A point and the slope. Does that make sense? It has a point and the slope. Okay, let's go back to that in just a minute after we review the first two forms that we looked at. All right, the first form we looked at was standard form. And everyone say this with me. I shouldn't have to say this. Everyone, now.
Ax plus by equals c.
And they tell me that A, B, and C, and this is what I want you to get. A, B, and C are real numbers. And I can make that more specific, like really strict, but I'm going to call them real numbers. That means it could be positive or negative, and it could be integers or even rational numbers like fractions and decimals. So it could be any number that we know of up to this point. Real numbers. And what does it mean by A and B are both not 0? One of them can be 0, but not both of them at the same time. Okay, that's standard form. Now notice, guys, I'm just trying to help you on this one. What is all by itself in standard form? What's all by itself? C, and do you guys remember what C is called? It's a number, constant. It's the constants by itself. Good. Second form we looked at was slope-intercept form. Everyone read it with me. Y equals
mx plus b.
Okay, what does M stand for? Same thing over there, the slope. What does B stand for? The Y-intercept. So that's slope-intercept form. You know why we call it slope-intercept form? Because we have a slope and the Y-intercept. So we're not trying to make these complicated names. They're pretty straightforward. What's all by itself in slope-intercept form? What's all by itself? Not the constant. Y. Y is by itself. And you guys did that this weekend, last night, whatever you did it. Okay, point slope. This is what you need to know. All right, go ahead and write these numbers down and the descriptions here. I'm going to read something to you where these numbers come from, because right now it seems kind of random. It's like, okay, where'd you come up with this dollar amount, the 4? Joyce has an individual contract for her health care services. Her monthly bill consists of a fixed monthly fee plus a charge of $30 per doctor visit. In April, she saw the doctor 4 times and received a bill of $308. What is the fixed monthly fee in Joyce's contract? Okay, where did I get the 308? That's how much she paid in April. That's her total bill for April. Where did I get the 4 from? How many times did she visit the doctor? 4 times, okay? This right here gives me 2 pieces of info which form a point. It's a point on a line. Now I got a slope too of $30 per visit. Where did I get that $30 per visit? How much does it cost per doctor's visit? Okay, now this can be described on a line. And what they're asking for in this problem is, okay, we know she pays $30 per visit, and we know that she's paid $308 for 4 visits, but isn't there another cost that's in there? Is it just per visit? Or what did it say? She also pays a monthly fee. We need to find what that monthly fee is. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Y, write this down again, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. What form is that? Point slope. Point slope, right. In point slope, what do you have? A point and a slope. Okay, so do we have a point and a slope then? Yeah, we can go ahead and use point slope form. All right, listen carefully because this next part can be a little bit tricky. Okay, the point is right here. X sub 1, y sub 1. Do you guys see that? Remember in the point in my definition, what was the point that I had? X sub 1, comma, y sub 1, and they're right here. Okay? But when you put them into the form, you need to make sure you get the correct sign. Okay? Get the correct sign. So here's how I'm going to write it. Y, what was y sub 1 up there? There's only one value that could possibly be y sub 1. What is it? Good, 308. This is the y value. And somebody asked me, Mr. A, how do you know which one's x, which one's y? How are any ordered pairs ordered? X, comma, y. So it has to be that one. So I'm going to put y minus 308. Y minus 308. And if you get that, wait, why is it minus? Just think, what sign does 308 have right here? What sign? Other than the, I guess I should say, other than the dollar sign, it's positive. So I put it as minus 308. You do the opposite. Okay, what's the slope? 30. It says 30. And that would literally be this. Up 30 over 1. Up 30 over 1. That's the slope of her medical visits and how much she pays per visit. And then all together. X is still there, so X stays the same. What's X sub 1? It's the only other possible value, 4. So I put X minus 4. X minus 4. That's how I put the numbers into that point slope form. And ta-da! Point slope form is right here. This is it. That's all you had to do to put it in point slope form. Okay with that? Okay, we'll do it a couple more times, but just putting the numbers where they belong is important to start off with. Okay, now, what did I want to find out? How much she pays every month, whether she goes 4 times, no times, or 20 times. How much is she going to pay every month no matter what? That's what we're going to find out here. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to simplify this right here. And does anyone know how to simplify that? Look at it. 30 times x minus 4. Do you remember what property gets applied? Distributive. Okay, so I'm going to get y minus 308. That stayed the same. What's 30 times x? 30x. What's 30 times negative 4? Negative 120. Okay, so that's what I have right now. It looks like just a lot of numbers. I don't have enough to say how much she pays every month, but I want to get it into slope-intercept form. What's always by itself in slope-intercept form? Y. Good. And they're going to ask you, get in slope-intercept form, so you're like, get y by itself. Okay, is y by itself? No. Do you know how I can get it by itself? Add 308 to get rid of this subtraction of 308. But you do it to both sides. So add 308 to both sides. Notice I wrote the plus 308 underneath the negative 120 because they are like terms. 30x and 308 cannot combine, so I don't put it under there. What am I left with here? Y equals 30x. And then what's negative 120 plus 308? Close. 188. 188. And you're like, how did we do that? We did 308 minus 120 because they're opposite signs. One's bigger than the other. And this is just my work. 188. Okay, ready, guys? How much does she pay every month no matter how many times she visits the doctor? Right there. It's $188. And then here's how we can check it. How many times does she visit this month, April? Okay, what's 30 times 4? 120. What's 120 plus 188? That's how much she paid this month altogether, right? So this checks out with my work and the actual problem itself. Okay, great. Now, this is what I'm going to have you do. This is like a bonus problem right now. Did you get it in slope-intercept form? We did. Get it into standard form. Go. Wait, how are you supposed to do that? What's by itself in standard form? C. What does C stand for? The constant, the number without a variable. So here I'm looking at, what's the number without a variable? 188. How do I get 188 by itself? Well, how do I get rid of 30x on that side? Subtract 30x from both sides. And what am I left with? In standard form, negative 30x. I'm going to erase. Thank you for the emphasis. Plus y equals 188. That's standard form. Is it not? Is it in the ax plus by equals c format? It is, and all I had to do is add, or I should say, subtract 30x. Okay. Your homework today is going to ask you to do this. Get some equations into slope-intercept form, and some get them into standard form. And where are you going to start from? You're going to start from the point slope form. That's the gist of this lesson. Okay, go ahead and write this down, and we're going to work this problem out. So that was an application of how you could find out how much someone pays for bills. But here's a problem. They're just going to give you numbers. You're like, okay, what do I do with that? You're going to write this equation in standard form. So I want to get it in this format. And then it says, indicate the y-intercept. So I got to find the y-intercept. What does it mean to be a y-intercept on a graph? What does that mean? It's where the line hits the y-axis. Good. So you got to remember that, because guess what you have Friday? Quiz. Over this, tomorrow's stuff, and Thursday's lesson, or I should say, I think it was Tuesday's lesson. Wow, no, time out. Monday's lesson last week. So it's 6-5, 6, 7, and 8. 4 lessons on that quiz. Yes, sir?
6-5, just finding the x and y intercept.
Yes, that was 6-5. Yep. Okay, what did they give me in this problem? So these are the instructions above, but they gave me this, right? So what did they give me? They give me the slope, right? That's good. And then they gave me a point. What form can I use automatically? Point slope. All right. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. If you have a point and a slope, you can put it in point slope form automatically. So let's see what goes where. All right. I'm going to put y. That y stays the same. And then what is y sub 1 according to the info they gave me? What's y sub 1? It's 2. So how do I write it here? Y minus 2. Just write y minus 2. And you're like, wait, I thought it was plus 2. Well, you switch the sign. So just switch it up, and you do it for both of those. What's the slope? 3. Just keep that the same. And then x, what do I write in there? Minus 5 is correct. X minus 5. That's it. Okay, you wrote it in point slope form, but what form did they want me to give it to them in? Standard form. So I got point slope form. Great. All right, this is what you do first. If you want to get it into standard or even slope-intercept form, I want to use which property? Distributive. So go ahead and do that right here. So I get y minus 2 equals whatever you get with distributive property. All right, who wants to give it to me? Whoever's looking at me will be called. It's funny, people's eyes went down. Michelle?
3x minus 15.
Okay, good. 3x minus 15, great. Is that standard form? No. I want to get your feedback here because I want to see what the last class did, what you guys did. How do you get the standard form? What do you think to do? And if you're wrong, it's okay. Anybody? Am I calling people? Give me your guess. Best guess. Alex, what would you do? First of all, what does standard form have? What by itself? C, which is the constant. I have two constants, -2 and -15. So how do I go about doing that? Yeah.
I mean, first you could simplify the constants and you would add 2 to both sides.
Yes, add. In this case, you add 2 because you want to get the constant into one spot. Good. And I'm left with y equals 3x minus 13. Okay. So now the constant's in one spot. That's good. That's what I wanted. And then what would you do?
Subtract 3x from both sides.
Okay. What form did we want it in? Standard form. Mm-hmm. You're like, are you sure you want to do that? Oh, Michelle is saying yes. I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. That's correct. What am I left with there? Anybody else? When I subtract 3x from both sides, I'm left with Andrew? Yes. Is that standard form? Is it in the ax plus by equals c format? Yeah, it is. So this is standard form. Good job. What was the second part of this problem, though? Indicate the y-intercept. Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyone see it? It's there. 2 of you know it? 3, 4, maybe? 5? 6-ish? Josiah, where's the y-intercept? Or what is the y-intercept? Negative. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? Just asking. Is this slope-intercept form, guys? What do you get in slope-intercept form? Ready? You get the slope and the y-intercept. If this is in slope-intercept form, what's the y-intercept? -13. That's the answer. But is it in standard form too? Is the y-intercept in standard form? And I gave you this kind of heads up. It's the constant divided by b, which in this case was 1. What's -13 divided by 1? -13. Good. All right, let's move on. Try it out again. I want you guys to do it more on your own. I want you to get it to me in standard form and then give me the y-intercept. So 2 things I want for your answer. Who wants to help the class out by giving us what is point slope form? How do you write that form out? What's the general point slope form? Anyone want to help your classmates out? No? Just let them go. Let them be. Jackson, help them out. That's okay. Let me give you a hint. Ready? Y minus y sub 1. What would I have to put after that? Equals.
He doesn't have his glasses.
Okay, that's all right. Darius, finish it up.
And parentheses x minus x sub 1.
All right, there you go. So fill in the spots and then get it into standard form and indicate the y-intercept if it's there, if you can find it. Okay, Anna Grace, what numbers will go in here and here? So I'm going to have y. What's y sub 1? 5. So I'm going to put y minus 5. What's the slope, Hagen?
-2.
So I'm going to put that for m. -2 fits. Sam, what's x sub 1?
5.
That's y sub 1. So your only other guess is going to be 0. X minus 0. Or you can put x plus 0, but does it matter? No. Okay. So what would you have to do first, Philip? What do you think? Use the distributive property. So I get y minus 5 equals, Henry, what would I get right here when I distribute?
Would it be negative 2 over 5x?
Mm-hmm.
And 0?
Yeah, you can say plus 0 or minus 0 if you want, but that basically cancels itself out. Okay, is that standard form? That's not standard form. Is it slope-intercept form? It's neither form. Right now it's like in this intermediate state. I need to get it into slope-intercept form. Or standard form, whichever one you choose. Drew, what are you going to do here? Your choice.
Add 2/5.
To 2/5 x. All right, I can do that. It's allowed. What do you get?
2/5 x plus y equals 5.
So I get 2/5 x plus y minus 5 equals 0 if I did that. If I did this, and I get that right away. Andrew?
You would have to add 5 to both sides.
Add 5 to both sides?
No, sorry. Never mind. I was going.
Okay, no, you're right. And you were right here, and you were right there. You're going to add 5 to both sides. And what am I going to get? 2/5 x plus y equals 5. Is that your standard form? Okay, and you could have added the 5 here to both sides or added the 5 here to both sides. The only problem with doing it, the second step, this is standard form, by the way. That's good. What's the slope? It might not be as easy unless you remember how do you find the slope from standard form. It's the
Constant divided by what?
It's the constant divided by the number in front of y. That's okay. I know, very picky. What's the y-intercept then, everyone? 5. Y-intercept is 5. And you would have been able to see it a little bit clearer here if it was slope-intercept form. Okay, is there only one way to do these problems? No. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about it, but you got to get to this spot, and you got to be able to find that. Yes, sir.
So why is 5 positive when it was negative?
Over here is negative, and it's positive over there? Yeah, because what happened, I think this is what you were talking about, Andrew. Do I add 5 here? And I get y equals negative 2/5 x plus 5. And is this slope-intercept form? This would have been my y-intercept, which we said it was, and then I could add 2/5 x to both sides. Okay, let's move on. All right, write this down. Oh my, that's a lot. So write it down. You're not going to have to write it every single time you do a problem, but this first problem you will. You're going to have to get from point-slope form to slope-intercept form. And you know what? You already did that twice now. You've already done that twice. But they were nice to you. They gave you a point and they gave you a slope. What do they give you in this second line? Does anyone know how to interpret what that means? P sub 1, 2, negative 3, and P sub 2, 6, negative 1. What does that mean? They didn't give me a slope, but they did give me 2 points. That's the first point. That's the second point. Thank you for 2 points. I only needed 1. And did they even give me the slope? No. So you're going to have 3 steps in these problems, which they're really not that complicated. If you don't have the slope, you're really going to have a hard time getting any one of the forms. But they did give me 2 points. If I have 2 points, can I find the slope? I can. And if you remember how to do it. If not, I'll turn to the next screen in just a moment. Once you find the slope, you can use point-slope form to get into slope-intercept form. Why did I say solve for y? My whole goal is to do what in this problem? Get it into slope-intercept form. Why do I say solve for y then? What's always by itself in slope-intercept form? Y. That's what I'm saying. Just do it. Okay, we're gonna do a little differently today. Remember the 2 points? How do I find the slope if I only have 2 points? Do you guys know how to do that? You use the slope formula. Use the slope formula. That was from 6-2, 6-3 maybe. You've already done that, but let's see if you remember what to put there. By the way, in your quizzes, they're going to be the grade's going to be upgraded this afternoon because they're graded. I just have to put the scores on it. But one of the things I noticed on the slope formula is you switch the numbers up like this, or you switch the numbers up like that. And that's going to cause a little bit of a problem with getting the correct slope. Here's another thing that happened, and I just got to bring it up because I want you to be ready for this problem, is you did y sub 2 plus y sub 1, x sub 2 plus x sub 1. That's not it. Okay, yes, sir?
For the next step, do we just choose one of the points, or is there a certain one that we...
I'm going to give you a certain one. Yeah, but, okay, did you get the slope? Okay, what's y sub 2 up here, everyone? -1. What's y sub 1? -3. What's happening between those two? Subtracted. Don't forget that it's -1 minus -3, which equals what? 2. Good. What's x sub 2 up there? Yes. What's x sub 1 up there? Good. What do you do between those two? Subtract them. You get, what do you end up with? 1/2. You guys okay with that? What's my slope? 1/2. So do I have the slope now? Yeah. Do I have a point? Yeah. Actually, how many points do I have? 2 points. I'll write that down if you need it, and then I'm going to switch screens here. Let's do this. You guys are the first half, and Mary, you're included with this side right here. You're the first half. I'm going to make you use the first point. You guys are the second half. I'm going to make you use the second point. So this is what you're going to do on this next problem. I'm splitting you up into groups, and hopefully the groups get it right. This side is going to use 2, -3. You're going to use that point and that slope. This side, you're going to use this point and the same slope, because we can't just switch slopes, but you can change points. Okay, first get it into point-slope form. Do you have a point, guys? Do you have a slope? Point-slope form. Do you guys have a point? Do you have a slope? Point-slope form. Okay, and some representative from this group, first half, give me your point-slope form, just putting everything where it goes. Same thing, representative here on the second half, get me point-slope form, just the way you put it in the numbers. And whenever you're ready. Or shall I volunteer? At the end? Yes, slope-intercept. Okay, Jack, I need you to write it in point-slope form using this point, that slope. Y.
Y plus 3.
Good. Plus 3. You see how he changed the sign? Okay, go ahead.
Equals half times x minus...
Good. That's how you guys should have written first half. Second half, Gracie. Y.
Y equals y minus negative 1.
Okay, good.
You could do plus negative.
There you go. And you actually said it the way it's technically, it's y minus -1, which is y plus 1. What's the slope?
1
What goes in the parentheses?
x minus.
Good. All right, there you go. You guys are using that point slope form. And I want you to get it in slope-intercept form. So what do I want you to solve for? Y. Get y by itself. And both of you are going to do the same process, but you have different numbers. How does that work out? Wait, does that work out? Okay. What do you do first here? Left side, first half. Distribute. What do you guys do here for second side? Philip, what do you do here? First step. Distribute. Great. Those all look the same. Sorry. Okay. Second step. What do you guys do if you're trying to get in slope-intercept form? And really, this is your last step, hopefully.
Subtract 3.
Subtract 3 from both sides, and you guys end up with y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Okay. And You guys, Sam, what is your last step here?
Subtract 1.
Subtract 1 from both sides. You get, oh man, y equals 1/2 x. What's that? Wait. Whoa. You guys got y equals 1/2 x minus 4, and you guys got y equals 1/2 x minus 4. You both got the same answers. You know why?
They're on a line.
Yes. How many points are on the line?
Infinite.
Infinite number of points. And point slope form works for every single one of those points. They come up with the same equation. Same equation if you work it out correctly. Well, you guys are ready to go on this one. I want you guys to do the whole process. I want you to get me these 2 points in slope-intercept form, and you can go any way about it. And I gave you the first hint. What are you going to do? Find the slope, because I really need slope to get point slope form going. And you may begin if you haven't started yet. You're allowed to begin. Sorry? Now get into slope-intercept form. So you got the slope, which is really cool, but you still need the slope-intercept form. How many of you are going to use the point 1,4? How many of you are going to use the point 614? Okay. From who raised their hand, it's pretty much split. If you use the second point, this is what you're going to use. If you use the first point, this is what you should get. And you work them out the same way with different numbers. You should come up to the same answer, which is in about 30 seconds. You want to give it? Yes. 30 seconds.
We were trying to find y.
Slope-intercept. So you want to get y by itself, yeah. So it has to look like this. Y by itself equals something x plus or minus something, which is b.
I like purple.
You like what?
Purple.
Okay. How many of you have an answer? You have one already? Okay, William, what'd you get for your final answer?
Y equals 2x plus 2.
And did you use this point, the 614, or did you use 1,4?
614.
Okay, so you would have done that, and that gives you that. How many of you used the other point, the 1,4? So you would have done that, because my hand's getting so tired. What do you get? Same thing? Okay, how many of you can go from 2 points to slope-intercept form? Okay, ready? I want the fastest person here, which I don't know who it is, to get that in standard form. Go. Standard, go. Raise your hand if you have it. I'll call on you. Go. Oh, my. It's testing me to see if I'd catch it. First person, raise your hand. Sir.
-2x plus y equals 2.
You subtracted 2x from both sides, you get -2x plus y equals 2. Very good. All right. Your homework is 2 through 18 even. Oops, I heard the rumor was different. Okay, you need to know standard form, you need to know slope-intercept form, and you need to know what they're asking you for. All right, goodbye, Swivel.